When you think of America's founding fathers, you might imagine generals, presidents, or philosophers. Governor Morris was none of those things. He wasn't a commander of armies, he wasn't destined for the presidency, and he wasn't the most famous name of his age. But Morris gave America its voice. He was the man who took a scattered clauses and compromises of the Constitutional Convention and shaped them into a living document. And it was Morris who wrote the words that still ring like a bell. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. It wasn't just a preamble. It was a declaration that government came not from kings, or not from states, but from the people themselves. That was Governor Morris's legacy, to give the Constitution its spirit. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political band,
sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not one small step for man.
Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
we pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
Morris was born in 1752 in New York to wealthy land-owning family. Privileged, yes, but also marked by misfortune. As a boy, he suffered a terrible accident that left one of his arms crippled. Later, he lost his leg in another accident. But if his body bore scars, his mind was sharper than steel. Morris studied at King's College, again Columbia University, trained in law, and quickly built a reputation for intelligence, wit, and boldness. As the Revolution broke out, Morris threw himself into politics. He served in the New York Provincial Congress and later in the Continental Congress, where he became known as both a fierce critic of British rule and a practical thinker about the hard realities of war and finance. Unlike many of his peers, Morris was skeptical of radical democracy. He believed too much unchecked power could lead to chaos. But he also rejected aristocracy, that's how I say it all the time, aristocracy and monarchy. He wanted a strong republic guided by reason, with a government capable of holding a nation together. And again with the dates, I'm dyslexic. In 1787, Morris arrived at the Philadelphia Convention, and though he wasn't the most famous delegate, he quickly became one of the most influential voices. He spoke often, more than 170 times, and never shielded from strong opinions. He distrusted slavery, calling it a curse of heaven on the states where it prevailed. He distrusted excessive state power and believed it would tear the Union apart. I think you see some of that now. And above all, he believed the new Constitution had to speak with clarity and force. When the final drafting committee was sent to work, the task of actually putting the Constitution into polished language largely fell to Governor Morris. His pen cut through legal jargon and compromise, shaping the final text into something enduring. It was Morris who crafted the preamble, and we've done a whole episode on the preamble. Go look at it and watch it. It's amazing. I did it. It's amazing. But those words stand as the Constitution's opening, and in many ways its souls. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. Originally, the draft had listed each state by name, a loose collection of sovereignties, and Morris replaced that with a single powerful phrase, we the people. That choice was revolutionary. It declared that sovereignty rested not in states, not in kings, but in the people themselves. Those three words carried the entire promise of revolution forward. And after the Constitution was ratified, Morris continued to serve. He worked as a diplomat in France during the Revolution there, navigating chaos with his usual sharp wit. He later served as a U.S. Senator from New York. In his private life, Morris was known for his charisma, a sense of humor, and his frankness, traits that sometimes made enemies, but always made him memorable. Morris spent his later years back in New York, writing and framing and continuing to comment on politics, with his characteristics of blend of bluntness and brilliance. And he died in 1816, leaving behind not just words on paper, but the words that defined a nation. Gouverneur Morris isn't just some famous founding father, but his contribution is really unique. He gave the Constitution its form, its clarity, and its most powerful statement that America belonged to we the people. For all his sharp edges, Morris was the craftsman who made the Revolution's principle into a lasting prose. Gouverneur Morris, the lawyer, statesman, wit, and the pen behind the preamble. His words gave America its identity and its voice. We, the people, wasn't just a phrase. It was revolution in ink, a reminder that power rests with its citizens, not kings, not states, and not politicians. Those three words became the foundation of every generation of Americans that have stood, where they've stood on when demanding freedom and justice. It's we the people. Morris may not be the most famous founder, but he left behind something greater than fame. He gave the nation the words that made it a people. I really appreciate you taking time to listen. Please go watch the Preamble episode. Remember, history isn't boring. It's the story of people who gave us the words that we still live by today in this free republic. I will see you next time.